Korean adjectives are misused all the time. I see way more examples of incorrectly conjugated adjectives than I do of correct ones among Korean learners. And this is understandable. They can be a little bit tricky to work with, especially compared to how simple adjectives are in English. For example, take the English sentence, I saw a small cat. Small is the adjective, and it's the only word that you need to describe the cat. In Korean, you can make this sentence, 작은, small, 고양이, cat, 봤어요. 작은 고양이를 봤어요. So I saw a small cat. However, making the sentence, the cat is small, uses a different word to say small. It's from the same word, but it looks different. Here we had 작은 고양이 for small cat. Now we have the cat is small. 고양이가 작아요. Notice that the verb here, which is 작다, changes form whether it's being used before another word to describe it, or if it's being used toward the end of the sentence to talk about something. And this is the biggest difference between Korean adjectives and English adjectives, and that is Korean adjectives can change. First of all, huge thanks to all of my Patreon supporters and YouTube members for helping to keep the lights on. If you would like to also help support this channel and help me to make more and better Korean content, I will have links in the description box below. So, because Korean adjectives can change depending on how they're being used, here's the biggest piece of advice that I can give you. Whenever you're learning a new adjective, learn the unconjugated form, so the base form or the dictionary form, whatever you want to call it, of that descriptive verb. For example, when you learn the word small, do not, I repeat again, do not learn small as 작아요 or 작아 or 작은 or anything like that. Learn small as 작다, a descriptive verb meaning to be small, and only learn this one. So basically, when you're learning a new word, not just adjectives, but any word, do not learn just the word that you see used in an actual sentence. It's kind of counterintuitive. Don't learn the actual word as it's used. Instead, you want to learn the dictionary form of a word. And for adjectives, the dictionary form is going to be a descriptive verb. And this is the same as if you wanted to learn the word 고양이 for cat. You wouldn't learn it as 고양이가, because that wouldn't mean cat. That's a different part of the sentence. So don't learn words as you see them, but look up the original dictionary form. In this case, for example, 작다 can be used before another word, so to describe that word, like an adjective in English, in which case it would become 작은. So 작은 고양이, 작은 집, a small house, for example. But if you're using it at the end of something, you're saying something is small, well then it can conjugate several different ways. 작아요, as in this example, it could also be 작네요, 작지, 작죠, 작은데, and 100 other ways. And trying to learn small as 작은 or 작아요, or even learning all three of these, is simply creating unnecessary extra work for yourself when there are already so many other things you have to learn for Korean. Let's do another example. Let's take the descriptive verb to be smart, which is 똑똑하다. So as an adjective, this can become 똑똑한 when it's being used right before something to describe it. So you can say 똑똑한 고양이, for example, and you get a smart cat. But if you wanted to say the cat is smart, and I see so many beginners doing this, 똑똑한 이에요, I see this sort of thing done a lot, but it's incorrect because 똑똑한 is only when it's being used to describe something directly. If you wanted to say something is smart, you simply use the original verb and conjugate it. In this case, you could say something like 똑똑해요, for example. So you can say something like 고양이가 똑똑해요. The cat is smart. Again, always learn the dictionary form, the unconjugated form of any adjective that you're learning. And this will always end with 다. So if you see something that ends with anything else, it's not that form. Now, that's not to say that everything ending in ta is going to be a dictionary form, but at least if it doesn't end with this, you know you don't have it yet. Now, another major difference between Korean and English adjectives is with tenses. In fact, Korean adjectives all have a tense. In English, the words cute or small or smart are all just adjectives. You just learn them as is. But in Korean, these can be either past or present or future tense. Now this might sound confusing at first, but you're actually already taking this into account whenever you're using a descriptive verb. For example, the verb 똑똑하다, like we had, means to be smart. So if you say 고양이가 똑똑해요, you're saying the cat is, present tense, smart, right? So the past tense of that, you could say something like the cat was smart. And the future tense could be the cat will be smart. And that's because Korean verbs already have that meaning of is or was or will be within the verb itself. Whereas in English, it's a separate verb. We say, I am, he or she or they are, like that. Now, the majority of verbs that you're going to be conjugating into adjectives in Korean are already in the present tense. Our example, 똑똑한 고양이 is actually the present tense conjugation for to be smart. So is smart. So literally, 똑똑한 고양이 means the cat which is present tense smart, not was or will be. And if you wanted to, if the context required it, you could say the cat that was smart, or the cat that will be smart. And there are some forms in which you would want to use the past tense and the future tense, but I'm not going to get into those in this lesson. Okay, so that's the major difference, but there's still one more thing that I want to cover about adjectives. Korean also has certain adjectives that don't conjugate. They're already in their final form, and you can learn them as is. Now, technically, these aren't called adjectives, and we have them in English too. They're known as determiners, and you attach them before another word. So let me give you a few of those. There are more than this, but these are some of the most common. 무슨 for what, 어떤 for what kind of, 새 for new, 옛 for old, 모든 for every, and then 이, 그, and 저 for this and that. And you simply attach them directly before a word to describe it. So, 무슨 고양이, what cat, 어떤 고양이, what kind of cat, 모든 고양이, every cat, like that. However, you wouldn't change these if you're using them in a sentence, and you also would not stick them at the end of a sentence. These are used to describe something. Okay, there are some more differences we could go into, but in my opinion, these are the largest ones. So what do you think? Have you had any difficulty with adjectives, and what were they? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Again, special thanks goes out to my Patreon members and channel supporters for helping to keep everything going here. If you would like to become a supporter of my channel as well, I'll have links in the description box below. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!